You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging out with you guys. And today we have another great guest interview lined up for you guys. We have returning guest to the show, superstar fertilizer spreader extraordinaire, Britt Dowd from the Lawn Care Leaders podcast and Green Again Lawn Care. Britt, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Brian. Thanks for that walk-up intro, man. I'm super hyped. You really built me up for this. I'm nervous.
that's my WWE SmackDown intro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's
exactly.
I grew up in.
I'm coming through the smoke now, down through the tunnel. I feel it. But I'm tapping into a ring with the big boy. So
heck yeah.
I'm sitting there waiting to get smoked in the face in the ring with Brian Fullerton.
Well, don't turn your head too quick because you might get a chair to the face. You know what I'm saying? But I listen, man. I grew up in a double wide trailer. Like low income, like that's what you did on Mondays and Thursdays, man. Raw's War and WWE SmackDown, brother. So
that's awesome.
It's so sad, but so true. But so hey, on today's show, if you guys don't know Britt, you might be living under a rock. Britt is not only a friend of the show, but he's a friend of mine. Britt is a really great dude out there in the industry. We'll get into his stats here, but I'm excited about having him on the show and talking to you guys about a little bit more 202 type content today about hiring good people, recruiting good people. A lot of you guys are building your second crew. A lot of you guys are hiring a foreman or empowering people to be a foreman. So if you guys don't know Britt, he has a podcast called the Lawn Care Leaders podcast. So Britt, why don't you take it away? Give these guys a quick, 2-minute update, talk to them about the Lawn Care Leaders podcast, and then we're going to take a quick break and then we'll get into the meat of this thing.
Perfect, man. Perfect. I appreciate you. Yeah, host a podcast called Lawn Care Leaders. We also have just recently dropped a Lawn Care Leaders coaching and community platform. I also, on top of that, run a 7-figure lawn application business here called Green Again Lawn within the Kansas City area. And so we're busy, man. We love what we do and get to do it every day. Started just like many of you guys. So started with a push mower and my mom's purple minivan, and just could not get away from the industry. So I love everything about it. And that was kind of the impetus for the podcast. Like, how can I learn and grow and continue to hang out with more people that are doing the same? So that's where we're at, Brian.
It's going to be good, man. It's going to be good. Well, you're a family man. What's the family update? You got a couple more kids. You got the Brad Jolie kid thing going on. You like adopting a few yet? Or how many you got now?
we've got 2 beautiful girls.
Yep.
So my wife, Brooke, you think I'm busy. I mean, seeing her raise toddlers and then also deal with the brain dump and emotional dump that I give her, just the excess and overflow of what happens to me in business. She's a rock star. And
there you go.
We have a 4-year-old daughter and an almost 3-year-old daughter. And we'll have a couple more. So we'll
awesome.
see, man. We'll see.
So we got to get Brooke on the show.
Better catch up, Brian. That's all I can say. You better catch up.
Well, we got 1 bun in the oven, and hopefully we got 2 more sets of twins. That's 5. I'll be pretty close to my soccer team, and then I don't know. Maybe we'll just Then we'll maybe adopt a few along the way because I don't know. Our heart's always been on Our heart's always been on maybe adopting, but so we got to get Brooke. We got to get Brooke on the show though one day, man, because she's raising 3 children here, and it's I'm just having fun. But you're a man child, dude. I know you, and you and I cut up we cut up all the time.
She definitely has to deal with me. She doesn't. Yeah, definitely has to. Well, that's cool about your heart for adoption. We love that. We love that. We're all about adoption, and that's one of our. I don't talk about it a ton, but one of our big personal whys is adoption. We started a foundation to fully fund fixed costs for adoptions here.
Wow.
Domestically. So
I didn't even know that. Small world.
Yeah. We don't. I mean, it's just one of those things. Unless it comes up,
yeah.
It's not like we go around saying, "Hey, we have a foundation. Hey, we're all about." It's just more if God brings us to the situation
I love
want to be able to pour. We want to be able to pour into it. So.
Well, we always talk about on my show who wins when you succeed, and when you have a successful life in business, you have the opportunity to pour that blessing, that outflowing to many other people. And there's a lot of people that could use some love, a lot of people that could use some financial blessing. Hello, and so it's really cool to see what this community does. And again, that's what I want to talk about with Britt. Britt is a leader in the industry. He's got a lot of credibility with what he's talking about. We actually did a podcast probably about the same time last year with his startup story about Green Again Lawn Care, his 7-figure fertilizer and turf treatment business. So if you guys want to, after this, maybe hit a little 1-2 punch and hear Britt's full story, we'll go into that. But let's do this really quick. Britt, you got the water there. I got the water here. We're going to do the good old sip of water. Maybe you guys listening to the show and want to take a sip of your water, or Mountain Dew, or whatever you guys are, throwing down the hatch today. But let's do this. Let's kick it over to the best producer in the biz, and then we're going to come back and hear a little bit more from Britt Dowd about how to hire, how to grow, how to empower people, how to hire a foreman, and how to promote from within.
I've enjoyed doing a little voice work for Britt in the past, and certainly enjoy following him on his Instagram. Now, I do hope that you are following our host, Brian Fullerton, on YouTube at Brian's Lawn Maintenance. He recently put up a vid about how to maintain your zero-turn lawnmower, providing a few simple maintenance tips that'll just keep the equipment going strong. I think that I saw him replacing blades, maybe changing the oil, even swapping out the battery, and we're certainly proud here at Fullerton Unfiltered to welcome Batteries Plus as our show sponsor today. Start it up, keep it up. That's the way the world works. And Batteries Plus backs you up with the neighborhood's largest selection of batteries plus bulbs. They've got phone repair, they've got key fobs. They can do everything that you need to help power your cars, lawnmowers, phones, and everything in between. Finding and fixing with the know-how that you need right now. So stop by Batteries Plus for screen repair, key fob programming, battery replacement, and more. And you can learn a lot more at batteriesplus.com. So remember, friends, if you don't make time for maintenance, maintenance is going to make time for you. And the next time you need a mower battery, I want you to think about Batteries Plus. Now, back to the show.
All right, good deal, guys. Well, let's just jump right into it. Britt, I want to give you the platform, man. You are a leader in your own right, and you're also empowering leaders, and you're able to grow your company to where it is today because what you've been putting into your team and into your company behind the scenes. So help these guys out. A lot of them, myself included, they're smaller companies, maybe owner operator. They're hiring their first guy. Maybe they're growing though, but they're hiring their second crew, or they're trying to promote a foreman. Let's just jump right into it. Anywhere you want to start on any of this part of the conversation, then we'll just kick it from there.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, I want to hover around hiring for the majority of the talk. And so at Lawn Care Leaders, we have a new mission, and we exist so the lawn care leader can stop working a job, start owning a business, and enjoy having a life. And one of those bottlenecks that gets you from stop working a job, a lot of us are just technicians, production units, guys that are just punching the clock within our own business. We feel like we're owning a company, but really we're not owning a company. Really, we're running a company. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest bottlenecks to you going from owner operator or running a company to actually owning a business is what? It's people. Mm-hmm. And when people come into the picture, there's pain involved, there's learning lessons involved. And I love this topic. I mean, that's my podcast is the Lawn Care Leaders. Leadership is influence. And so that's what I want to sit with today, if we can, Brian. And we go over 3 things when we talk about recruiting effectively. And it's attracting the right people, selling the right thing, and then challenging the people that you are getting on your bus to rise up to a higher calling, mm-hmm. kind of like playing to a level of your competition. A rising tide raises all ships is kind of how I view that last one. Mm-hmm. So probably what we'll only get through today is attracting the right people and selling the right thing. And I think the biggest part of attracting the right people, if you get nothing else right, it is your vision. People will follow you if they know where you're going. We all strive for progress, in our businesses, in our personal life. But the disconnect sometimes for where you want to go as a business owner and guys that you're bringing on your team is that they don't know where you're going. And this is kind of like you can picture, bro sitting on the side of the road and you're driving by and he's like, "Hey, can I have a ride?" And you're like, "Sure, hop on in." He says, "Where are you going?" And you're like, "I don't know, but we're going there quickly and we're working hard while we get there." I don't know about you, but like for me, I'm just like, I think I'll pass and I'll catch the next bus that actually knows where he's going. That way I know where I'm going too. And so that's why I've done this wrong. I like casting vision. I like rallying people around a cause. I like dreaming big, but communicating it clearly to your candidates is something that you have to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't stress that enough. The other thing with vision is it is your responsibility as the business owner. It's your responsibility to cast a vision so big and so grand that the people that you bring on board can see their personal ambitions, dreams, goals, and their personal vision fulfilled. The disconnect happens when you cast a vision that doesn't exceed the vision of your employees. When you cast a vision that is below the expectations of a crew leader, of a general manager, of a technician, they will begin to feel disconnected. They will begin to feel unmotivated. And it's because they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel anymore.
Well,
Maybe go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, how many times have we all heard somebody say, "I can't stand working here. I don't see myself working here," or they want, or they're ambitious and they're hungry. I call it hunger. They have desire, and there's no room for them at the company. That's always a bottleneck too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so that's our responsibility as the owner to cast that vision. So we could sit here. I mean, we could do an entire hour lesson on how to cast vision properly. A couple key points for your audience is you can also attract the right people through standards and core values. They say we're the sum of the 5 people we hang out with. Well, guess what? That's true anywhere in life. So what you talk about, the standards that you hold, the core values that you hold, I'm sure the majority of your audience, Brian, has standards and core values that are somewhat similar to yours. I'm sure people listen to you on the podcast because at some point or another, they're going to hold the same standards. Same is true for commonalities. So as you're thinking about, okay, who am I going to attract? Right people, looking for commonalities, what do I hold dear to my heart? What my standards and core values are important, but also what commonalities do I have? And just start to list them out and look for that in other people's and highlight that during your interview process. Highlight that whenever you're doing job promotions on Indeed, Facebook, wherever it may be. Because the sum of the 5 people is no mistake. It's caused by the commonalities, and who we attract through these connection points. That's what we will create. That is inevitably what will become our culture. So just leaning into that and thinking about the right things. So, that's what we do when we want to recruit more effectively. That's the first step, is attracting the right people. And the second, Brian, I would be interested in hearing some of your feedback, because it's always cool hearing what you're going on or what's going on in your world, because you're hearing it at scale. But one thing that I see is, at least for me, it was true. And then now that I've begin to talk to other business owners more and more, it's like we're selling the wrong thing when we're hiring. And there is a little aroma of being apologetic in the air. There's just a little bit of this. We're just lawn care, I know, or hey, we're landscaping, but we're going here. So there's just almost this apologetic, sorry for doing labor or whatever. There's a little bit of that in the air. And so because of that, and I think it happens too to those guys who haven't hired their first guy yet, or maybe they're at 2 guys, but they're looking for that key leader to come alongside them in this crusade. And so you're still kind of not sure that somebody can fully see your vision fulfilled with you. And so there's a little bit of apologetic atmosphere, but in selling the wrong thing, we start to sell incentives rather than the vision and rather than the standards. So we sell things like time off in the winter. We sell a fun culture, a cozy culture, over friendly. We sell maybe a base salary, or maybe we sell, hey, we're $2 more per hour than anybody else in the industry in our area.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you sell a company truck, or maybe you sell commission or bonus, or maybe you're highlighting the fact that you pay more for snow removal and you also get PTO. All of those are not inherently bad things, right? Like we all want those, but if you sell those things, I promise you, like, you're going to sign people up for the wrong bus.
Mm-hmm.
The people that sign up for that bus, Brian, are the same people that will leave whenever somebody else offers them a little bit higher rate.
Bingo.
Or a little bit more PTO. And so selling that, you'll get new candidates and you'll get them quickly, but that bus makes frequent stops. You have a lot of seat changes inside of that bus, and you're going to hit a lot more speed bumps if that's all you're selling.
Of course.
What you really want to do is you want to sell your vision. You want to sell your standards and core values, and you want to get people lined up for that bus. The disconnect for everybody, though, is that it takes longer to establish that line for that bus. You know, it takes a longer interview process. It takes holding the line on your vision, holding the line on your core values, and not simply just saying like, oh, he's got experience in mowing. He's got experience in landscaping. So I think it'll be all right.
Sure.
That's not good enough. That's not good enough.
Well, I like where you're coming from with a lot of this, because this is a little bit more leadership conversation. And so
yeah,
where I kind of derive two different points that you made in there. Number one, and here, this is my story too. So like I'm literally talking from personal experience that how proud of my business could I have been when I was living in a 700 square foot apartment, making $30,000 a year net off of my 10-year-old business. I wasn't very proud of the industry. I wasn't very proud of my business. And so my business self-image, my personal self-image, and we don't want to tie it to a dollar value, but look, I'm also a practical, realistic dude. A lot of guys out there, we want to perform. And when you don't make any good money out there, you make $10 an hour, $12, it's an ego hit. It's a self-image hit. It shouldn't be, but I'm going to talk practical. It is. Because, your pastor can deliver the message. Don't let your finances dictate your self-image. And I would 1000% agree to that. But the practical side of me too also says, look, if you have a business that's not making money, how proud of it could you be? And so I think where one part that you're coming from is a lot of guys that I've talked to as well, that we've been trying for the last 12, 18, 24 months, maybe 4 years on my channels. Let's get these prices raised. Let's get profitable, whether it's hardscaping, landscaping, fert, whatever it is. Let's treat our industry like a real industry, a real business. The big guys have been doing it. But us younger folks and smaller companies, we didn't know. And I do feel like there was a little bit lack of education and resources and information out there. I mean, social media wasn't a thing 5 to 7 years ago. So we didn't know how to charge for mulch necessarily, or how to, figure out a labor per man hour rate. We didn't know how to know our costs, know our overhead. Now we have softwares and YouTube videos and podcasts to learn this stuff. So a lot of us have been making a lot more money the last 12, 18, 24 months. And I think that's where a lot of us have had an about face. Like, we're excited about our businesses. Like right now, Britt, I don't know if you can relate, but every time I'm DMing somebody or see comments on YouTube, people are chomping at the bit to get out there to hustle. And I just personally feel like that might have not been the conversation 4 or 5 years ago. I feel a lot of people were doing exactly what you were saying. Dropping prices, just taking on whoever they could. They were selling all these like little intrinsic perks to the business versus being bold and saying, hey, make a career out of lawn and landscaping, make a career out of the green industry. Because I know you employ, quite a few folks as well, and you can compete with those folks with a good livable wage that you can hire with Green Again Lawn Care, just like General Motors could or Amazon could. And that's freaking exciting. You're not like hey dude, it's only $14 an hour, but you get winters off with unemployment. You're like, no, dude, I'm going to pay you $45 grand to get you a company truck and a cell phone and insurance paid for. And you can make a career out of this thing. Let's grow. Let's hustle. So I think that's my 1 and 2 point together, is that I think so many more people are making money with their businesses, that their business self-image is going through the roof. And it's really encouraging to see how owners are now more proud and more excited and looking forward to hiring people on their company versus just, like you said, backpedaling. Hey, it's not that bad of an industry. I couldn't do college, so I did lawn care. And I've never felt that way.
Yeah.
Like I chose lawn care. I didn't fall into lawn care.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Ryan, you just opened up a straight can of worms. So here's like, I couldn't agree more. And I love that you brought up, like, hey, we're getting a little more confidence. We're getting some reps under our belt. I do remember back in those early days, it's kind of like when you're first talking to your first client, like you don't have any confidence
right
in that situation. You're freaked out. Like, what are they going to ask me? Shoot, after I BS my way through this question, I also have to tell them to pay me my $150. And so, yeah,
hyperventilating in the parking lot,
Yeah, exactly.
We've all done it.
Yeah. And so there is that, like, there is a lack of confidence. But what I would say is, where is your confidence stemming from? I mean, for me as a believer, like, I've had to recalibrate my confidence over and over and over again.
Of course.
And not to share some sob story, but last year, in particular, between March and the start of aerating and seeding season, we'll give them a lawn care time frame.
Yeah.
Between pre-emergence and aerating and seeding, it was the hardest period of my life as a business owner, as a father, as a husband, and it was almost like God was just like, hey, don't forget everything that I have given you and blessed you with. I could take away in a blink of an eye. So make sure where your confidence stems from is the right place, would be my point with that. I know not everybody listening is a believer, but you also need to be careful. Where am I deriving my confidence? Is it just when I get paid, or just when I hit a goal, or just when I have materialistic things? Because that will be snatched away. I promise you, you're going to have confidence in a move down. You're going to have confidence in a client and they're going to cancel you. You're going to have a confidence in a business partner and they're going to quit or not do as much work as you. So I've decided, like, hey, I'm putting my faith in God, and that's the truest and purest form of confidence. Everything else stems from there. Now, outside of that, I will also say your self-image piece, and I want to talk about that. Because we could talk about this through the lens of two different factors. It's kind of like I love teeter-totter principles. So two different teeter-totters. On one side, you've got ambition, and on the other side, you have work ethic. The disconnect is when you have ambition, but no work ethic. But there's also a disconnect on this teeter-totter when you have work ethic, but no ambition. And so we can tie this right back into, what are you selling and how are you attracting the right people? Because work ethic that stemmed from success gives you good self-image. So that teeter-totter is high. Well, what's on the other opposing side that's low? Your ambition, right? I just said work ethic and ambition. So self-image, work ethic is high. Well, what's the other side? It's vision. And if you're not casting vision, and you're only getting confidence from quick wins, monetary wins, from work ethic, from seeing success, you're going to feel out of balance. And so here's what really needs to happen. You need to have a balance between both, because when you do, that is what a win looks like. It's not a monetary win. It's not a selfish win. It's a true win. It's true progress in your life. And you can look at this for everything. Like think of a football team, right? What is winning going to look like? Well, yeah, we want to win the Super Bowl, but right now we got to bust our butts just to get through practice. And that's the training, that's the work ethic side. So if we solely get our purpose from working hard, that's not enough, because we didn't win the Super Bowl, right? And equally, if you're the guy on your team that, like, slacked off or maybe didn't get in the game because he didn't work hard enough, but you win the Super Bowl, there's still a disconnect there. There's still, hey, we won, but I could have cut deeper. Hey, we won, but I messed around in the off season and got caught doing this. And so I'm not feeling that win. You can't have ambition without work ethic, and conversely, you can't have work ethic without ambition.
Well, that's a great point. Here's one thing I'll ad lib really quick. My wife felt that way personally too the last few years, because she was getting like recognized as Brian's wife, and she's like, I'm not Brian's wife. I mean, she's Brian's wife, but she's like, my name is Liz, and I kick ass too. And I'll tell you, there's no Brian Fullerton, YouTuber, lawn care business owner without her. And of course, 100%, the intertwined cord here with our faith, that's how we operate. But, outside of that conversation right now, if I didn't have Liz, helping me grow the company, we wouldn't have a company. So I totally agree. And what she also recognized was, she wasn't putting in as much commitment into the businesses. And there's a lot of like, we're real people just like you guys, man. Like she was like, she got laid off from her job. She didn't have a transition. She didn't want to perform with like a career to get her self-image or create finances, but we weren't ready to have a family. So she's a 27, 28, 29-year-old stay-at-home wife, which is like unheard of in this culture today. And so she had to work on that a little bit, but the last 2 years has worked harder behind the scenes than anybody I know to learn our industry, learn our businesses. They call it bringing both horses to the front of the cart, right? One of those deals. And there's an old like story and principle there that, you got these horses that pull the cart and one pulls 7,000 and another pulls 7,000. So you would think it's 14,000 pounds or whatever that they could pull, but really they can pull 28,000 pounds because, there's a multiplier there, right? That whole deal.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's been our life story the last, couple of years. And so I love what you said about, teeter-tottering between ambition and work, because we've always been ambitious, but I'm like, hey, we got to work too. And short term and long term. By the way, one other quick little point I got to mention is as a Christian, it always reminds me faith without works is dead. Well, like you said, you can have faith, and to me, faith is the unknown, the unseen, I should say. And so, if that's your faith, that's your vision, that's what your ambition that you're working towards. Well, outside of that, you have to have your works. So it's like. It's a teeter-totter, but to me, it's also a multiplier. You have to, and not to get all super, preachy on anybody, but you have to have that vision, but you also have to have that work backing it up. So go full circle to hiring and growing.
Can I sit here with two other points, Brian, real quick?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to try to keep it under like 5 minutes here. The first is strategic. Like the other trend that I'm seeing is the balance between strategic and operational. And I bring it up because it is directly correlated to ambition and work ethic. And one thing that I see, so by strategic, I mean things that are necessary in the business, but they're high level. It's like casting vision. It's like planning. It's doing financial projections. It's looking at cash flow reports. It's leadership development. It's whatever it may be. That's strategic. Operational is like, that's your boots on the ground. That's strapping it up, going out, being a technician, picking up the shovel, closing sales, doing marketing. That's operational. One thing that I see is people too often in the first 5 years get wrapped up in being strategic. And so, yes, they're taking massive action, but they're taking massive action on things that they're important, but really you could knock them out in 1 day a month, or even 1 day a quarter, or maybe you just randomly do it. But what happens is you feel good doing those strategic activities, and it's almost like they steer away from the operational because they feel like they're doing a lot strategically.
And this esoteric plan,
Yeah. And that is you have the ambition and you feel like you have the work ethic, but your work ethic is not focused on what it needs to be. You need to be willing to do anything operationally so that you can then create enough margin to where it makes sense for you to be strategic. And not to get way too high level, but I just see so many business owners that look at other guys on Instagram and they don't know how many years it took them to get there, or they don't know the sacrifice that it took to get to that point. They're just like, oh, this is how this guy's doing it. This is how he's pricing his services. This is the demand for his time. You know, I should probably emulate somebody that's in that position, right? Well, no, you shouldn't emulate his strategic plan, because that guy has moved himself along the business journey to get to the point where if he doesn't do those strategic things, all the other operational things break down. So if you're 5 years or less, you need to be 95% operations, 5% strategic. I think that was longer than 5 minutes. The other thing I was just going to say,
that's Latin for Britt Dowd. That'll take us 10. So I'm just messing. You're a podcaster, man. You have this like internal clock working against you always. You're like, man, was that 30 seconds or did I go 3 minutes?
I know. I'm so bad about that. I don't know where I get that from. I can take 100 words and to say,
well, you have
10 words.
You have a passion for teaching, so I get it. It's but this is the stuff that I want to crack the egg open here, peel the different layers of the onion back, whatever they want to say, because. And in fact, small story or small world. We have a podcast that should be dropping possibly just before this episode with Greg Wigstock, the pond guy, and we talked all about strategic building of your company because I was like, Greg, how did you get here and what are you doing now? And he talked about 4 different levels of growing a business, and the most mature fashion is level 4, which is strategic growth. I'm not going to take anything away from that episode. It was really good. I got to go re-listen to it a few times because, here's a guy running a $50 million company and is happy and joyful and has a good family. And so I want to emulate people like that, like you were just talking about.
Yep.
Well,
but what they don't realize is those 4 phases are doing, deciding, delegating, and designing. And if you never, you have to be the doer. You have to be the sole person that is doing everything in your business. And that's operations. And so you go from doing to, okay, now I'm doing. Oh, shoot, I've got too much on my plate. Well, now you've got to bring other people around you that help you decide on what to do. This is where bookkeepers come in, CPAs come in. Maybe you start to outsource and subcontract. Maybe first guy, and he's helping you make those decisions so that you can do more. And then once you tackle that, then you're delegating. Now you're starting to develop some layers between you and operations. And then this dream space that everybody thinks they'll be on an island in one day is designing. How do I design my future? And that is strategic. But if you flip this ass backwards, I was trying to not cuss and I did. If you flip this backwards and you design from the beginning and you don't do, you're never going to get the tire moving. You're never going to get the ball rolling downhill.
So your goal is, what's the 4 Ds again? What's the 4 Ds you were saying?
It's doing, deciding, delegating, and designing. And designing. And we're doing each on a daily basis as a business owner. You're going to live in each of them. There's no world as a business owner where you will not be doing something, where you will not be helping others make decisions, where you will not be continually delegating. So don't think of this utopia where you're going to be designing your future all the time.
Sure. Well, those 4 Ds can be extremely helpful for folks trying to grow and perpetuate their business. I honestly subscribe to the philosophy of the 5 Ds, which is dodge, duck, dip, dive. And dive.
I love it. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
I gotta lighten it up because you come in with this leadership talk, and I'm like, guys are on a lawnmower right now, swatting a bee out of their eye, and so I'm always trying to think context of where people are at, sweating 90 degrees heat in Florida, So, but
they're like, I'm doing mofo. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, man, I'm designing my future, and then at the same point, they're like, man, who's got a Gatorade around here, And so if this is a little bit, I told you guys this would be a little bit more 202 of a conversation. Maybe listen to this one when you're at the gym, later tonight, and you can maybe jot down a couple of notes as you go through this. And I'm poking fun, but I do it to kind of jolt your brain a little bit here with some humor because I want you guys to have this content, go into your brain and it's meat. And so this isn't necessarily meant more of an entertaining, kind of a podcast that you guys can just listen to kind kind of passively, you know, take some notes on this stuff later tonight when you get home and just bust out a journal for a half hour and just say, hey, you know, Britt's talking leadership. Am I doing, am I designing? Where am I at? Am I delegating? Where am I at in this whole process? And what can I work on my business every day with these couple different quadrants that you're alluding to?
Yeah, exactly. Now, I don't mind it being lighthearted. I just want to make sure that while I have this brief opportunity that I shake guys, I verbally give them a spanking and make them realize, like, hey, this is deal. Like, you are a leader, you are influencing people, and so you need to lean into the hiring process. Like, you need to lean into leading your team because it's important. It's important, man.
What do you say to the guy out there who repeatedly says, I can't find good help, I can't find good people, hiring is tough these days? What kind of encouragement or advice do you have to that gentleman who's looking to hire first, second, third guy, or try to get that landscaping crew off the ground that he can feel empowered that they're going to go do a good job that day without him having to babysit?
I would say, why do I want to work for you? Go ask your wife, why would somebody want to work for me? And then ask her, why would they not want to work for me? And then go and ask your best friend that same thing, and then go ask a mentor that same thing. I would say that most of the time when somebody gets a job or somebody gets a good opportunity, it's because you can see it in their body and emotion, the way they talk, that they're excited, that they want it. And where does that emotion come from? It comes from the vision. I would say you are not casting a big enough, grand enough vision to where your future team members can see their life better under your life. They just see it as another job. So of course, you're not going to get that good of talent, and you're going to have people come in and leave. And so again, you need to figure out, where are you going? 9 times out of 10, I ask a guy, what are your goals? His answer, just like everybody else, I want to be successful. I want to have a successful business. I want to be bigger. Or the worst is, I want to be in the top 100. It's like, okay, but tell me where you're going. Tell me what we're going to do. Tell me who we're going to bring with us along the way. Tell me what sort of personal mission is going to be fulfilled for you when we get there. I want to get to the top 100 because we're going to be 30 million revenue. And from that profit, we're going to go out and we're going to raise up more leaders. And from that profit, we're going to go up and start nonprofits that do this, or we're going to just start all these locations and change guys' lives with X, Y, Z. That, to me, I'm signing up for that bus, but I'm not signing up for the bus that says, hey, we want to be successful. We want to be professional. No, that's not casting a grand vision. That's just some hazy statement that you spent 5 minutes on and put down on a piece of paper before the interview.
Yeah. Well, I heard a TEDx talk, I don't know, like 7, 8, 9 years ago. And it was such a funny one. It just stuck with me. This lady did it, and she was talking about motivation. And we got to find people that are motivated. You got to find people that are just, have desire. They're hungry. Right. And I've also found that it's very hard to instill hunger into people. Some people are hungry. Some people aren't. Some are on all different levels of the spectrum, right? But the lady, I got to go find this talk. She did a great job. I'm sure I'll butcher it, but she said, she goes, when she was talking to somebody about desire, and they're like, well, I'm going to go get fit. And the guys, she was interviewing the person. They said, well, why do you want to go get fit? And like, well, because I want to, have 8% body fat and be toned up and look more shredded. And she goes, really? So why haven't you been in the gym? And so she goes, why do you really want to get fit? And he goes, honestly, so I can be more attractive, find a hot girl and go get some. And that's exactly what he said. And she goes, well, that's the difference. And I'm just being, blunt. So she goes, well, that's the difference between, ambition, and that's the difference between desire. She goes, that's the difference between an elusive point, just like some good feel-good answer, as crude as it might be. But the reality is, like, he was actually motivated for something as petty, as minimal as it was, or crude, or whatever. Some people are like, well, why do you do certain things? And it's like, okay, you can have this esoteric thought, but dude, sometimes it's just, you're hungry because you're mad, you're frustrated, you're ambitious, you're having a good day, you listen to some good music. So take all the ambition and motivation you can. And like you said, what did they say? Plan big, but work small, something like that. So it's
Dude, I love that. I love that story. I love that TEDx talk. Who did that?
I don't know. I literally need to go back and find it because the lady delivered it like in true TEDx form. I mean, those people, they're the thought leader type, and so they're very eloquent. Versus me and you are like Beavis and Butthead on the back of the short bus over here, and so that's so you and I we have
I just picture us in the short bus just slapping each other back and forth. Oh. No, bro, that's so good though, because it's like, because so many people, like they set out for fulfillment, but they settle for success.
Yes.
And that's truly what it is. And so
I've heard you say that before.
Vision,
yeah.
When casting your vision, don't cast a success-filled vision. Cast something that creates fulfillment. And when you do that, that's what will sign people up for those extra things on your list, sign people up for a bigger purpose. So that's good, man. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that story.
Well, did you, a side note, because my brain works in like, you remember the old game show called Whammy, where it was like, boop, 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 boop. You ever watch Whammy back in the day? They're like,
I did not.
Oh, dude, I did not. It's like this, like 20 squares around the screen. The lady's face is like in the middle, like,
oh yeah.
Come on. Yeah. Okay. I was like, you've seen it. And, so they always scream out, no whammy. Well, that's how my brain works. So it's like, boop,
no
boop, boop.
whammy.
Yeah. So
now you got me thinking of the Brady Bunch.
It's kind of like that. Yeah. I mean,
lovely lady.
Well, no, it's funny. Dude. Like I had this thought jump into my brain. You guys can tell Britt and I, like we're butts. Okay. Well, it's funny. Did you ever see that little Facebook video that went around, Britt, with the, and I'm not on Facebook all day long like you guys, but at the same point, like you guys aren't either, but did you see the two kids, they're like 4 and they found one of those trash lid things that when they step on it, the lid smacks up. Well, there's 2 little 4-year-old boys or whatever, and one hits the lever and it swings up and smacks the kid in the face, and he laughs, and then they switch sides, and then the kid that got smacked, he goes and puts his foot on it and smacks the other kid in the face, and he laughs, and it's like, it's literally the most retarded thing you've ever seen, but it's the cutest thing you've ever seen too. But if you guys are wondering, like, when Britt and I get on a podcast, if I had a visual, I'm just saying, like that's kind of it's like 2 little studs, but smacking each other in the head. You didn't see that clip?
I did not, bro. I did not. I'll have to go look it up.
Well, if you guys have it, man, send it to Britt in his DMs on Instagram, would you? Because it circles around every couple months, and literally I show it to my wife. I'm like, this was literally my childhood with my younger brother. Like summed up. It was just two morons out there making it happen, But anyway, well, hey, did we get through your 2 points? Because I think we gotta land the plane here. I gotta get running myself, but I appreciate the time, and I wanted to get you on the show again, talking about a lot of these guys they're hiring, like I said, their second, third person. They're growing a second, third crew. A lot of you guys are taking the content. Last year was know your numbers, know your worth, charge appropriately, raise the price, and all. I mean, by the way, that conversation doesn't end. It's a continual, let's keep reinforcing that this year. But at the same point, we're all kind of growing. We're graduating. We're expanding. Mm-hmm. And so I want to get guys that have larger companies like the Corey Ballards, the Jeremy Connects, the Troy Clogs. Like, let's get some 202 content out of these guys. And so any wrap up thoughts or points you want to leave these guys? But if not, we'll land the plane right here, brother.
I think that's it, man. I think that's it. It's been a joy talking to you. And sorry we went very, very high level, very leadership. It's not always that way with me, but I'm passionate about seeing my audience, your audience, people that have lawn and landscape companies. I'm passionate about seeing them win. So I think that'll help them.
There you go. Well, quick little selfish plug, 2-minute plug for you, Lawn Care Leaders Podcast. Let these people know what you got going on, where they can find you, and how they can keep up with you.
Yeah, you can find Lawn Care Leaders Podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, lawncareleaders.com. And then if you want to DM me on Instagram, one thing I would say is we do content like that on our podcast. I also document meetings, leadership meetings at my company, Green Again Lawn. We do business interviews, but we also sometimes get into some technical stuff around lawn applications. So that might be some very practical stuff for your audience, Brian.
Yeah.
Like if they have a one-off question about, hey, I just got into the fertilizer game. Is this product good? How do I control this weed? Or, hey, I only have 5 clients. Does it make sense for me to buy this or only do a granular program? I love talking about that stuff. So just DM me. I'm happy to help any way I can.
I love it, man. I love it. You and Jason Creel are always my 2 of my go-to guys for fertilizer and turf treatments. And again, to go full circle, we did another episode. If Marty, Mr. Producer, is able to plug that in the show notes, we'll try to link that there. It was probably one of our first 50 episodes we did, because I think we probably did an interview the same time last year. And you and I were so gung-ho. We're like, man, 2020 is going to be the year. And then I think a week before or a week after, like the world gets pulled out from underneath our feet, and everybody played the scramble game to see what's going to happen with the pandemic. But anyway, so all things being said, man, super appreciate you being on the show, guys. Lawn Care Leaders podcast. I listen to it when it comes out almost every day, every other day. There's an episode that's always,
Oh, now he's lying.
No, I was going to say.
I just hit the trash can button, bud. You just got smoked in the face.
What did I do? Oh, well,
you just lost. I'm just
it's not
right in the face.
It's not every Thursday that you drop a podcast. When do you drop the podcast? What do I know? I don't know. I don't know how many.
No,
what's your release schedule?
Look at Brian. Hey guys, listen to Brian squirm. I like when I can make him squirm.
Well, I don't know. Every time I listen to your show, every time I listen to the show, there's a new episode. So do you put them out? Well, here's the thing though, too. Your episodes are like 15, 20 minutes. So
That's true. Because
it's always the meeting ones. No, look at this, dude. Wednesday, Monday, Friday. Yeah, shut up, dude. I knew what I was talking about. I'm like, I listen to your stuff almost every day. It pops up every day. So I don't know. Tuesday.
I'm just messing with you, bro. I'm totally.
Well, no, I was actually like concerned. I'm like, is it not your show? Because I hear your voice every time. Like, what's going on? All right. Well,
No.
So Lawn Care Leaders podcast on YouTube, Lawn Care Leaders podcast, Instagram, Lawn Care Leaders on the podcast, obviously, which is really exciting. But hey, dude, we definitely appreciate the time. If you guys want to learn more from Britt, shoot him a DM, man. He like you said, he's always open to hearing out your guys' questions, and if you have questions about hiring or turf treatments, all that kind of fun stuff. Britt's one of your go-to guys. I always do enjoy getting to catch up with you. Not enough, man. We get to see each other 3-4 times a year tops, and that's not enough. And so I don't know. We'll have to get you out here one day, or I got to come up to see Green again and do a little shop tour or something like that. What do you think? That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, I like it. We somehow need to link our Sportsman 4-wheelers up and just go cruise together.
Now we're talking.
That would be a good podcast.
See
the headset of the 4-wheelers.
See, that's ambition versus like desire. That's like a real thing. Like get together, hang out, talk business. Nah, go ride 4-wheelers too.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that
exactly. No, man. Hey, for real, Brian. Hey, you're a good dude. I appreciate your friendship. Appreciate all you do for us, and sincerely want to give you a congrats on the new baby on the way.
Thanks, brother.
And then congrats on the home. And that was true about the barn envy. I got bad barn envy every time so stop posting sweet barns. So
they're nice.
No, for real. Congrats on all that, man. We're happy for you.
Well, thanks, man. Well, congratulate me at the end of summer when it's all the wheels are in motion. Right now, I'm like just the horses are in the stalls ready for the Kentucky Derby here, and a couple more months, and hopefully we get to release the hounds, right, as Mr. Burns would say. Yep. So we'll see where it all goes. But the baby, the house, the barn, the barn's next on my hit list. And you shot me like a minute long audio message, and I was you had me cracking up. I don't remember what you said, but I was laughing pretty hard. You're like, stop sending me barns, dude. This is nonsense. Like you can't be building that. I'm gonna come up there and I'm living in it or something like that. I was like, well, check that through the wife, man, because you never know. But any which way. Well, hey, dude, we got to get you up here. If we don't get to see you this summer, hopefully whether you come to our live event or I'll get over to you sometime this year, it'll be a good time. And guys, Green Again Lawn Care, check them out. And of course, Lawn Care Leaders podcast that does have a 3-time a week show, best I can tell in my show notes here. So
love it, man. I love it. Thanks, Brian. It's been fun, bud.
All right, guys. Well, hey, we'll lock it up right here and shut it down. Appreciate you guys listening to the show. Don't forget to leave the all-important ratings and reviews. We really do appreciate that. And also, leave some great ratings and reviews for the Lawn Care Leaders podcast with Britt Dowd. I know he'll really appreciate that. So he's not going to self-promote. But, guys, he puts a lot of time and effort into it. He's a fun guy. He likes to joke around. But the content he puts out, like I said, it's all day 202 and meat-type content. I think a lot of you guys that are aspiring to grow and are growing your lawn and landscaping companies, I think you're going to get a lot out of his podcast. And so, great friend of the show, great friend of ours. So we appreciate the time. And guys, let's kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer, and we look forward to catching up with you guys here on the next one.
Excellent show today, as most of them are. Hi, it's Mr. Producer. You know, GIE Plus Expo is going to be here before you know it. The dates this year, October the 20th through the 22nd. Brian looks forward to catching up with all of you guys at the event there in Louisville. If you haven't registered yet and you want to save a little money off the registration price, use that promo code Brian to save 50%. There will be a link below. Certainly thank you to Batteries Plus for underwriting the cost of the show today. Start it up, keep it up. That's the way the world works. And Batteries Plus backs you up with your neighborhood's largest selection of batteries, plus bulbs, plus phone repair, plus key fobs. They do everything they can to power your cars, lawnmowers, phones, and everything in between. Finding and fixing with the know-how that you need right now. Stop by Batteries Plus for screen repair, key fob programming, battery replacement, so much more. And you can learn more at batteriesplus.com.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.